All right, if you are into camping, the outdoors, exploring, overlanding, you probably know what this is, and that is a Starlink Mini. These things basically give you the capability to have internet anywhere. But how do you mount this thing on a vehicle, right? How do you attach it safely and securely so that you don't have to worry about it getting stolen, or you don't have to worry about it taking off or getting damaged? And my answer to that is SatGear mounts. So again, let's walk through this SatGear roof mount for your Starlink Mini in this video today.
Where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
Alrighty guys, so this is what I would kind of consider their more budget priced mount for the Starlink Mini. The reason is that it's basically this simple little piece here where you're going to attach your Starlink into this cradle, and then you are going to use these suction cup mounts, and then those are actually going to attach to the roof of your vehicle. It does have this air dam on the front of it here to kind of push the air up over it if you're driving down the road, but you can mount this thing and like drive on your trip, drive on the highway, do whatever you want. It's going to securely hold the Starlink Mini in there and also protect it from like rock chips and things thanks to this air dam and just the design of it. They do have a version that kind of has like a cover over it that looks really awesome. It is more pricey, so I will link to that in the description below, but if you really wanted to mount it to, let's say, the roof of your vehicle and just sort of leave it up there full time, you could do that with that other mount. Again, this one, my plans with it are to use this when I'm going on a trip, mount it to the hood of my car potentially, or it could be attached to the roof, but I do have a roof rack, so it may have to go on the hood. It also may go up on top of my rooftop tent. So I haven't really decided where yet, but I do like that I can just sort of leave the Starlink attached in here and have this thing stored somewhere where when I'm going on a trip, I can just grab it really quickly. I'm gonna already have my suction cups attached, and I'm gonna show you how to do that, but I'm gonna have those attached. And I'm gonna be literally ready to just hook this thing up, plug it in, and I'm good to go. So let's start off by kind of walking through the mount here, and again, showing you how to assemble it, showing you how to mount the Starlink in it, and just getting it all ready to be in a spot where I can mount it when I need it. All right, so let's start by talking a little bit about this mount, the features of it, and then I'm going to put the thing in here and I'm going to actually show you how to install the Starlink Mini. I really like they've got this handle on the back, which makes it super easy to maneuver this thing. It's also really light. This is aluminum, so it's extremely light. Everything's pre-threaded, so it's really easy to assemble. Again, it's got their logo in there, etched in there, which is really cool, and this air dam on the front, which just makes it, you know, so that you can just slap this thing on the roof of your vehicle with your Starlink Mini, literally run the cord down into a power source, and you're good to go. You've got Starlink on the go. So that is the main body. Now, what comes with it? Let's start by talking about that. So you do get these couple of brackets, and then you get the hardware that goes with it, which are these 4 bolts and some washers. Now, basically what these are is these are going to go on the side, and you're going to adjust them down until they're clamped tight on your Starlink Mini, and then that's what's going to hold it into this cradle. And then you're going to run those bolts with washers through these threaded holes, and you're going to do that on both sides. So on your Starlink Mini on the back here, your power cord is right down in there, and it's accessible whether this little stand is up or down. Now again, as I mentioned, SatGear have like cases for this too that are pre-made, pre-cut out, so that you can just put your Starlink in there, your cords and all that stuff, and you could carry it. So if you want a more portable option, check the links in the description below to see those. But again, if you want to mount it on your vehicle, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But so your cord will run through this little cord holder here into that socket right there. Now, the really nice thing is they do include with the mount, they actually have a Starlink plug and like a cigarette lighter style plug. So in addition to the cord and the mount itself and the hardware for attaching your Starlink into the cradle here, you also get these really nice rubberized feet, I guess I would call them. So they have a threaded bolt sticking out of them, and then they're rubberized. What these are actually for is these are to keep from scratching your paint. So you see these 4 corners here, that's where these are actually going to go. So these are going to keep this metal from scratching into your paint. So you just want to attach all 4 of those into these spots on the bottom here. Just get them good and tight. Now another really cool thing that I want to point out, and you can kind of see them here, you see those little circles on there? These actually have magnets built into them. So not only do these rubber things serve as, you know, protection for your roof, but it also magnetizes this mount to your roof. So in addition to the suction cups, you've also got that magnetic hold, so it keeps it from bouncing. Because even with these rubber things on them, if it's moving a lot, if it's bouncing up and down because the suction cups are holding it, but they're, you know, allowing movement, then that could damage your roof. So I really like that they put those included magnets in these just to make sure that it's a really secure, firm fit to your roof. These things are super secure. So they're basically kind of like a sea sucker mount. They are branded as SatGear though. They look really nice. And these do come with the bolt that you need to attach them. All right, so let me bring you in here really close. I want to show you this in detail. So we've got all of our magnetic little feet on here to protect your roof. Then we're basically going to mount 4 of these on these sort of slots. In the top of these suction cups, you've got 4 different holes and then a big one in the middle. What this hardware seems to fit, and each one of these comes with a bolt and a washer, is they seem to fit the smaller holes here. So what that means is you've got to make a choice, right? You've got to pick where you want this to go. Now what I'm noticing is I kind of find that it sits the most flush towards the front. So this is on the back series of holes there. And I'm just going to mount it all the way inside. So I'm going to mount it right there up against the end of the slot. That way they're consistent. They all look the same. I want it to look nice, right? So I'm just going to basically line it up right inside that slot. Take my washer, take my bolt, and I'm just going to finger tighten this down here. Now again, as long as I'm consistent, I think I should be fine here, right? So now I've got my 5/32 Allen wrench here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put a little torque on it. Again, I lined mine up right on the inside of the slot so that the button sticks out just past it, so that when it's compressed, it's really almost flush with the mount. I just think that looks a little bit better. So I've done that on both sides here on the rear. One note is the bolts that come for the side panels, right, for attaching your Starlink into the cradle, these are longer than the ones that come with the suction cup. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the one that comes with the suction cup, and this is the one that comes for the side mounts here for the actual Starlink itself. If you confuse those, these will not work. They're too long. They go down and they bottom out, and then you can't actually get this tight. So again, these come in the box with the suction cups. Just make sure you don't confuse them or mix them up. I was trying to do that for a second, and I was kind of like, what the heck is happening here? Why won't it let me mount this thing flush, right? And it was because I had the longer bolt. So we're going to use a washer with all of these. And I'm just going to the very inside here of the channel, the slot, and boom. Now we've got all 4 of our suction cups attached. We've got our magnetic feet attached to this thing. The last step that we need to do is we need to actually put the Starlink in the middle of the cradle. So let's do that now. Now one sort of tip to mount this is this whole center section actually comes out. So if you kind of pull it away from the plug, then this will come out. And then this thing will actually sit perfectly flush in here. It pretty much just rides right in the middle, ready to be secured. But by taking this big, huge thing out of there, it does free it up to make it a little bit easier for you to mount it super flush. Now, again, this is your tripod, so if you're planning to take this out of the mount, you definitely want to keep a hold of this. But since I plan to pretty much just run mine on the top of the truck all the time, I'm going to mount it, like I said, semi-permanently in this mount. All right, so again, thinking of the wire here, right? So I need the wire to be able to come out through this slot here in the bottom. So I want this to face this way. So I'm going to actually lay this down so that the cord comes out where this big slot is. I'm going to lay that in there sideways. And again, I did remove this center section, the tripod piece. I'm going to keep that with the rest of my Starlink stuff just in case I need it. But with that out, I mean, as you can see, this thing fits perfectly flush. It looks like it was born to be in this thing. So we're going to take our little side mounts. We're going to take our longer bolts and a washer. Now you do have to put a little bit of pressure on it. I do find that I have to push down on it just a little bit, which is great actually, because that to me tells me, again, there's not going to be any gap in there. There's not going to be any flex. It's going to be held in place really firmly. And then right there is your access for your power cord. So again, you could use the one that they provided if you need to plug it into DC, or you could use the one that came with your Starlink if you prefer. But then I'm going to use the same 5/32 Allen wrench on this thing, and I'm just going to tighten down both sides here. All right. And then once that's done, that's pretty much it. You are all set up and ready to go. Again, I will put a link in the description down below to this one, as well as like the fully armored one, which I might prefer actually, just because then I could leave it on, not have to worry about it. I believe it's theft proof and it's also weatherproof, which I really like. But again, I'm not gonna run mine 24/7 on my truck. I'm just gonna use it a few times a year when I go out on a trip. So this thing is perfect for me. I'll put a link in the description to this, as well as the cases that they've got and all the different options. They've got a ton. So definitely if you're looking for a mount for your Starlink Mini, these things make a ton of sense. They're very reasonably priced and they are perfectly made. I mean, they really do look like something that came from Starlink themselves, just from a quality standpoint and a fit and finish standpoint. So really big fan of this mount and can't wait to run it on my truck here in the future. So again, links in the description down below. If you have any questions, of course, post up in the comments down below. Happy to answer anything that you've got. Also, there will be links to all my social channels. There's a join button below this video, which is just kind of a passive way to support the channel, get you early access to the videos. So before they come out, you get to see them. There's also a link to my Patreon group where we have a 24/7 Discord. We have a once a month Zoom call. And we try and get together once or twice a year, which is a ton of fun. There's also links to all my featured partners down below, which kind of like SatGear are just companies that I really like. I really like their products. If you're looking for someone that is trustworthy, a company that has great quality stuff, definitely click through those links down below and check out those featured partners because they're all awesome. And then of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to click that subscribe button. I do tons of gear videos, overlanding stuff, sort of general stuff. I do a bi-weekly podcast. I do all kinds of content around do-it-yourself modifications, off-roading, overlanding, and the outdoors. So I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And if you got value out of the video, make sure to click that like button. And again, I hope that was helpful. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.